What's up, banana bunch? Bunch? Bunch?
Welcome to the Jungle Gyms podcast.
What's up, Banana Bunch? You know what time it is. It's time for another episode of the Jungle Gyms podcast. I'm your host, Mark. Welcome to the show. This week, you know what? I've been doing this a bunch throughout the history of the show, but I always think this is a fun one. You'll see some more episodes like this. I like talking about startups that got their start at Jungle Gyms, and then you can see how big their brands have become. Now, before that, though, I need you to download the Jungle Gyms app. We have app-exclusive savings on there every week, all kinds of deals for you, only if you have the app. You can watch the most recent episodes of the podcast. You can plan the next week with the weekly ad, all kinds of stuff like that. It's great. It's a great way to stay up with Jungle Gyms stuff. You can even search in the store. It's a price scanner and more. On Thursday nights, don't forget, starting at 4 o'clock, we open up the Oscar Station for bourbon, for all kinds of dishes. Chef Aaron from the Event Kitchen is out there killing it out there. And actually, this is a retraction. I said it was Chef Mike last time. It's Chef Aaron. I've been meaning to say that the whole time, but I was wrong. So anyway, there's my retraction. But Chef Aaron is killing it. They have all kinds of new meals every week, so you can come out and try it. I go out at least once a month to see what they're working on. It's always something delicious. Sometimes they'll have cigar night out there too, and Gary will be out there trying new cigars. It's really cool. It's an open air space, so you can be avoid the smoke entirely if you so choose. All right, so this week, like I said, we're talking startups, and I'm going to talk about a brand that is conveniently right over here. I met Barbie a few years ago at the Weekend of Fire Hot Sauce Festival that we host here at Jungle Gyms, usually around August-ish. And I thought she had a great story, so we had been trying to link up for years on the show to come on. It was great. Barbie finally came out. If you haven't tried that damn jam, you're really missing out. It's lightly spiced pineapple jam. It's so delicious. But I think more important here is her journey from just starting in her kitchen to being on shelves all over the place, starting with Jungle Gyms. So let's turn it over to Barbie.
Barbie, welcome to the show. This is only, almost 4 years in the making now. I finally made this happen.
It's all good. It's all good. It happens when it's supposed to happen.
I agree. And I appreciate it. Seriously, I always like falling on the sword a little bit in front of the audience. I was like, hopefully someone's like, oh, it's okay to be wrong sometimes publicly, you know? Well, let's start from the top. Who are you? Why are you in here right now?
I am Barbie Hahn. I am That Damn Jam Lady, the Chief Sunshine Officer of an artisan jam company called That Damn Jam.
First off, the Chief Sunshine Officer. I think I need a similar title. Audience, let me know. What should I be calling myself? I love that so much. Well, we can tell. Like you said, you're like, I'm on brand. I love the pineapples. I love the colorful sweater. The whole thing is going great. How did this all start? Like, where does this come from for you? The
Damn Jam started actually about 15 years ago or so. Mm-hmm. My husband and I went on a trip to New Mexico.
Okay.
And I'm always a believer that, the trip is about the journey, not the destination, which means that I want to stop at every single roadside stand along the way, which my husband's more like the destination is the journey. And so I'm like, Mike, please pull over. There's a lady on the side of the road selling stuff. Let's go check her out.
Sure.
And we were kind of hungry. It's like, okay, let's pull over. We stopped and we tried some pineapple habanero jam that she had. And we ate the whole jar with a bag of pretzels in the car before we got to the hotel. It's all we talked about on our entire trip is that damn jam was so good. And I tried to figure out who she was. At that time, she wasn't on the internet. And I'm like, I've got to figure out how to make that. It made such a lasting impression on both of us.
Yeah.
And I came home and just started fiddling around in my kitchen and came up with a recipe that I remembered that tasted like the experience that we had. And my husband's like, that's it. Right. On point. You nailed it. It's so good.
Get me a highway and a bag of pretzels. I'd like to crush this. Yeah.
And I started making it and having it at parties, giving it out to friends. And always been in sales my entire career. So I would take it out to clients. I'd whip it with some cream cheese when I'd be doing marketing presentations or trainings. And people would be like, could you sell me some of that? I'm like, nah, this is just my passion project. I'll bring it in whenever. Then COVID happened.
Oh, right.
And we were on lockdown.
Yeah.
And luckily enough, I could still get the ingredients, even though there were all of these, issues with getting products. I could get the items for the jam.
Yeah.
And I started making it, and pretty soon we had it running up the sides of the wall. And my husband's like, what are you going to do with that all this damn jam. And
Yeah.
I'm like, so I started mailing it out, care packages to friends. I hope
Sure.
this lifts your spirits.
Aw, I
I
love
took
that.
it down to some local places in Milford that I knew were having, issues with getting their products in because of the
Sure.
supply chain issues. And people started Venmoing me money. And Venmo said, do you have a jam business? You're getting a lot of jam Venmos. And I'm
Right.
like, I guess I have a business. Let's go. And that's how we started. It's not a story too different than many others who start out of their home kitchen. It's a
Yeah.
passion, something you love, something you're trying to recreate. It's a memory. Food is a memory for us, right?
We just had that discussion earlier today in here where it's like sometimes Jungle Gyms is out here selling the food memory more than the food itself,
Yep.
right?
Absolutely. So I joined a class or a group called Retail Ready, which was this organization that you can go in, you can get some coaching, and they tell you how to get your product ready to go onto a retail shelf.
Oh, cool.
And so that gave me the roadmap for going out of my home kitchen and trying to get into a place like Jungle Gyms, right? Because you need to have some things. You need to have QR codes. You need to have nutrition testing. You need to be manufactured in either Ohio Department of Agriculture facility or an FDA inspected facility. And food safety is not a joke.
No,
this
not
is
at all,
this is
yeah.
a big concern, right? And there's only so much jam you can make in your kitchen. And as it started to grow, I realized really quickly that moving to an incubator kitchen wasn't an option.
Right.
It
Like,
just was
still not enough to scale up?
It wasn't enough.
Yeah.
It wasn't enough. And you can't be making the product, marketing it, and just distributing it. It was just more than what I could do. And I was fortunate enough to find a micro on-demand co-packer out of Wheelersburg, Ohio,
Oh,
called
cool.
Patter Fam Sauces, which is
that.
a woman-owned business.
Love that too.
And they helped me take my initial recipe, this pineapple habanero, from my kitchen-sized batch
Right.
to like a 30 or 40 gallon batch. We're still small, considered artisan produced. We are not a Welch's jelly. We're not manufacturing on that scale. I get jam delivered to me, maybe 30, 40, 50 cases at a time, but that's still a lot more than I could ever produce in my kitchen.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I can't even imagine what that looks
Yeah,
like.
and
too.
they were really a great partner in helping me get the nutrition testing, helping me get all the things that I needed. They had all the inspections. They had this clean bill of health for how they were producing products. And Joyce and Sam have been so instrumental in helping me take this step and there's not a lot of micro on-demand co-packers out there. It's really hard for companies to enter into this space because sometimes a minimum manufacturing requirement for a company like ours is 3,000 to 5,000 units.
Right. Yeah. It's like a kind of a,
Per flavor.
right. And you're
Right?
like, how
do
it's
you-
that that huge gap between, making it in your house and then jumping to a level like that where you're like, whoa, is this too much product? Right. Especially
Yeah.
if you have more than one item in the line. I can't even imagine.
At that time, I just had the one, and we did like a 10-gallon batch, and we went from 10 to 20 to 30 to 40 to 50, and now when I need something, I send them an email. I'm like, this is what I need. They send me an estimate back. I front them the money for all the materials, and then they make it. Then they bill me for the labor, and it saves me the time and energy and labor. And they're able to leverage some of their buying power too,
Sure.
in jars and lids and things that I wouldn't have, not manufacturing on a large scale.
Right.
It has been the perfect fit for us,
That
and just
sounds-
what we want to be and how big we want to be. We want to stay artisan. We don't really have a desire to have world damn jam domination.
Right.
We want to be
But
Cincinnati.
you have the branding clearly.
Well, thank you. Thank you. We want to be Cincinnati's favorite pepper jam.
Yeah.
We don't want to be the biggest. We want to be Cincinnati's favorite.
Yeah.
And be a brand that people are proud of to say, I met her, I bought her jam, I'm helping her grow her business, I'm helping her employ other people in our area.
Right.
We know the money goes directly back. And that is where the joy comes from for me.
Oh, sure.
Is knowing that somebody says, this is what we have at our graduation parties, at Thanksgiving, at our tailgates. It's a Cincinnati thing.
Sure.
I'd love to be a ubiquitous brand like Grater's or Skyline or something like that on a smaller scale. But to
now
be,
I'm thinking Grater's pineapple habanero jam collab I feel like
think-
that would go great on that.
well, we actually do eat it on ice cream at home.
See?
It's a mind blow. You put
bet.
the pineapple habanero over the ice cream, and you get the sweet, you get the cold, you get the hot, and you're like, what's happening? Give me another bite.
Right.
It's so fabulous.
I felt stupid saying this or about to say this, but I was like, it's funny because I've had like jams and cream cheese together, but when I tried it, I don't know if it was this past Weekend of Fire or the year prior. But I remember going, oh, this is one of those no-brainer combinations that I'm like, this is incredibly dangerous for me to have in my house because it's so good. And I always have pretzel sticks. I had a friend giving me a hard time the other night because she was like, you like plain pretzel sticks? I'm like, yeah, because I can put them with everything.
Right.
I want a beige dipping spoon.
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't want to eat my actual spoons. And I'm not trying to do more dishes, but I do want to eat more of this. But that was such a great combo. So now hearing it as an ice cream topper, that would go so crazy.
I have people tell me all the time the most curious things, that they eat it in the morning on their cottage cheese.
That would be great.
Or on their yogurt, which wouldn't be my go-to in the morning.
Sure.
I mean, I love it, but I wouldn't necessarily be the first thing I would eat in the morning.
Am I gambling with heartburn today? You know, I was like, that might be a little early
I'd
today.
have to prepare by taking a anti-reflux pill the night before.
I'll start gambling at about 11 in the morning.
Right.
I was like, the pre-lunch era, let's go, baby.
Lunchtime fair game. So yeah, it's been so interesting and so fun. And if you don't mind, if I tell you kind of the story of what happened next.
Yeah.
So, I actually went down to Lair's Market in Milford, which was my very first retail location, Allison Homan. I called up on the phone and I said, hey, can I talk to Allie? And they're like, yeah. I called her and I'm like, hey, you don't know me, but I shop down at the store. I love it. I see you carry a lot of local products. I have something I want you to taste and I want to get your honest feedback on because I'm considering trying to take this to the next level, but I want to know what you think. Yeah. She's like, be here at 4:00. I went down at 4:00, had my one flavor of jam. I had some cream cheese. I had some crackers, and she tasted it and she said, how much of this do you have? I said, a few cases. She said, you better start making more. And I said, really? She said, this is a phenomenal product. I'm really excited about it. And that was what gave me the wild courage to take the next step, to quote my friend Jenny Wood, who just released her book, Wild Courage.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah,
so we're hoping she hits the New York Times bestseller list, but you have to have some wild courage, right? Sometimes you need some external validation. Nothing wrong with that.
No.
But Allison gave me the courage to say, it's not just my friends telling me something's good because they like me.
Right.
When you get an outside external opinion or validation, I'm like, okay, I'm going to go into this consulting group. I'm going to figure out and take the steps that I need to get it out of my home kitchen. And you know what Allie did? And this is the amazing, beautiful part about the Cincinnati food community. And I'm sure it's not just here. I'm sure it's this small food industry.
Yeah.
Is they're all connected with one another. We are all connected with one another. It's not a they, it's a we now.
Sure.
And Allie reached out to Andrea at Urbanstead Cheese, which I see you have her cup over there.
Yes, I was going to say, she's one of my favorite guests, too. And
she's amazing.
Yeah.
Look at the awards that she's getting.
It's insane. And the product is incredible. And it's one of those that, we joked when she was on the show. I was like, I got to come in there sometime. But I'm usually just here during the hours. And then on the weekends, I'm like, I should go to get cheese. And I forget. So, Andrea, I'm sorry. I love you, though, very much.
I love you, too.
Thank you for the quark. Thank you for the curds,
Well, she does seasonal quark with our jams.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah. That would go crazy together. I love their quark.
So, so Allie reached out to Andrea, and Andrea said, I'd love to meet you. And then Andrea brought our product in. She did a post, and Tancia Chavez from ETC Produce down at Findlay Market saw that. She liked it. I said, hey, I see you liked Andrea's post. She said, I was hoping you'd notice that. And I came down to meet her, and she brought my product in. And it just, all of these small businesses, and a portion of them were women.
Right.
Just did everything they could to will that damn jam into existence. They're like, it's not going to fail on my watch.
Right.
We're going to collectively support her. We're going to bring her in, and we're going to do what we can to make sure that she succeeds. And I get emotional about it because it was I didn't expect that. Right. I just thought we do knock on doors a lot, and we go out and we do samples and we ask for business, and we're always trying to grow our customer base. But that type of connectedness within the Cincinnati small food community just blew me away. And I know they don't just do it for me.
Sure.
This is happening over and over and over again with small emerging brands and with food producers in our city. And it's a beautiful thing that I think is often overlooked and not talked about enough.
It's funny to me because I was just doing something with the Findlay Kitchen Incubator setup, right? And I love them. And even they brought up the same thing. It's cool that there are so many. And I had no idea. And I feel pretty connected in this space, right? But I was like, we have so many avenues now for independent business owners. Mm-hmm. And even, talking to them, they were like, if you just have an idea, you know what I mean? A lot of these places are like, what's the idea? How do we even get you in that first step? Right? Pre-product even. It blew me away a little bit. I'm like, have I been missing the boat for my own ideas. So I love meeting people like yourself, obviously, to talk about these stories, because how many of us had that idea for our little product, right? There's a guy we carried here, Tim the Mustard Man, right? The Mustard Man.
Oh, I know the Mustard Man. He's awesome.
And he has a very similar story where he's
Yeah.
like, I was just making this at events, and then people were like, you should sell this. So I love that there's so many these connected stories, and I love hearing that you're right. I'm sure other cities have similarly supportive groups, but it does feel, I've lived around a little bit, it feels like people are really on board with each other here.
Yeah, it really does. The community here is so wonderful and so supportive. And I don't know, maybe it happens somewhere else. I like to think that it's us.
I think so too, a little bit. I mean,
I like to think that it's us.
I want it to be an us thing at the very least. We should be known for this. If we can't have Sundance Film Festival, we should at least have a good connected community. All kidding aside. I mean, I would love to have Sundance here. I don't think we're quite ready for it. That's my hot take.
Well, I'd like to serve that damn jam at Sundance.
I would love that. I'm just hoping Boulder's backfires, which gives us like a year or two to get everything. I'm like, maybe a little more public transit, that would help. I got stuck at home all last summer. The first time I'd been out of the house in months was Weekend of Fire, which is why I was still in the cast on the crutch.
Oh, that's right.
And I remember thinking the whole time, I'm like, wow, I never noticed how car driven we were here until I couldn't drive. And I was like, oh, I can't do anything.
Yeah.
So anyway, I don't know why I got on the Sundance soapbox today, but I would very much like to see this at a premiere. I know I'd be happy about it at the very least, and we'll force the happiness on everyone else if I have to. I wanted to talk about the product line a little bit. Obviously, the pineapple habanero jam is a big one. Are there more in the category now too? Because I thought last year you'd expanded some, right?
Yeah, so we have 4 flavors now.
That.
So, when you go out and you are doing events and you're direct sampling, the beautiful thing about it is you get immediate feedback from people. People say, a lot of times they say, I don't like jam. I'm like, you know what? I don't either, but I like this one because I'm not a sweet, I'm more of a savory type of palate, right? And they give you immediate feedback. And so people were like, habanero, I don't know. Could you make something more mild? Right. And then some people taste they're like, well, you should try a ghost pepper, or you should make something without any heat at all. And so we just kept listening, and we kept kind of talking back and forth with people. And so what do you think the next logical flavor would be, right? And the next logical flavor was something spicier, because more people were asking for something spicier. Yeah. And so we went with the ghost pepper, which is now a seasonal flavor, because ghost peppers are only here for a short time. Right. And we actually have
unlike actual ghosts, which will not stop haunting me.
So Joyce and Sam actually have farmers that grow the peppers that are for our jam. So they're Ohio-grown peppers.
Love that.
So the pineapples aren't local, clearly, right?
Okay, yeah.
The pineapples are what they are.
We haven't figured that out here in the Midwest yet.
But the peppers are all grown in Ohio by Ohio farmers. And there's a limited amount of availability. And so we try to get as much production as we can in. But we're down to just 6 cases. I'm letting you know at Jungle Gyms, we only have 6 cases left at home.
Now's your time, everybody.
That's a seasonal. So when that's gone, it won't be back until next spring. And then the other side of it was people said, well, I want something without any spice. Yeah. So then we did the pineapple yellow pepper, which is a yellow salad pepper. And so the thing that's interesting about that is it's sweet and tangy. It's not just one note. It has that other little bit of a savory component.
Absolutely.
And then, of course, that's too hot. That's too cold. I want something just right.
Right, of course.
Then
Goldilocks keeps showing up to all the sampling
kept showing up.
So you're like, what is she doing here? Go tend to your bears.
Right. And so then the pineapple jalapeno came into existence.
Yeah, that's cool.
As the 4th component to our flavor lineup. And it runs neck and neck now with the habanero.
Really?
So habanero and jalapeno are neck and neck. Ghost pepper and then yellow pepper, which we have really to appease the people that come that say, I don't want any heat at all. Just so we have something all the way across the spectrum.
Yeah, that's really cool.
But also the yellow pepper gives you an opportunity for a base that then you can do your own thing with.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
So if you want to take it in a different direction than what we've done with the peppers, you can go a whole nother direction. It gives the thing about the jams is they have a lot of culinary applications. Right?
And so much versatility in that regard too. Yeah.
Because people think, I would never eat that on toast. And when people say, what do I put it on? The first question I ask them is, what do you eat?
Right.
Tell me what you eat.
Yeah, let me network into your existing plan. Yeah. So, I would put this on toast. That'd be great, honestly. Well, now I'm like, I'd probably put the cream cheese and that on toast together. That's where I'm at.
Cream cheese and toast.
I'm feeling bagels.
Quark and toast, right?
Quark and toast.
Whipped ricotta. Whipped ricotta. Really good on whipped feta. It's really good with whipped feta.
It definitely plays with the dairy items so well. And I like the habanero one because I've seen the jalapeno, but like that to me It's got a little heat, but it's not like an oppressive amount of heat.
Right.
I think people sometimes get scared of the
do.
word more than the actual level of heat in it, you know?
Sometimes we just say when we're out doing events, try some pepper jam. We don't tell them what it is.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times people will refuse. And then they'll taste. They'll be like, "What is that?" I'll be like, "Pineapple habanero." I would have not tasted that had you told me. But what do you think? Well, I like it.
Yeah, exactly.
And so by not telling them and getting them to sample, every once in a while, it doesn't always work out well.
Of course,
Sometimes somebody gets something that they're just not fond of. But,
of course.
But that's okay too. I don't take it personally. I don't like every single product that's out there.
Exactly.
And so
nor should you.
Nor should you, right? And you just
Yeah.
have to roll on. You have to find your tribe.
I think I say it this way on every episode now. I'm sure the audience is tired of me, but I always tell everybody whenever I'm trying to get them to try something that's like off their usual palate, I'm like, this is a speck, one single grain of sand on the beach. That's your life. Like,
Right.
I promise, just spit it out or swallow it. It'll be fine. It won't take too long. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
it's not going to ruin your life. You're going to have a momentary, I don't know about this, at worst. What's wrong with that? Try it twice.
Well, talking about that, it's really interesting when you're doing the sampling because it's a great social experiment, right? So and when we're down at Findlay Market, it's particularly interesting just because there's so many people from outside of Cincinnati that come to Findlay Market. They're here for baseball, football. They're here to bring their kids to college or to visit colleges or weddings and just all kinds of things, right? So you get this beautiful culmination of people coming into our city. But the social experiment part that's so interesting is watching how parents interact with their children when it comes to sampling.
Yeah.
Oftentimes they will, say they'll walk up and I'll say, "Would you like to try a sample?" They're like, "What is it?" They'll be like, "You won't like that. Don't try it." And other parents are like, "Do you want to try it?" And they let the kids try it, right? So it's really interesting how people's palates develop based on the information that we receive around us from what we would like or what we wouldn't like.
So true.
So by telling somebody don't try it, you wouldn't like it, they've already decided they don't like a lot of things, right? We never give them the opportunity to develop their palate.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen any of the interesting research about baby food and the amount of sweetness that's in baby food is that a baby's palate is developed in the first 9 months of its life for what it's going to really particularly crave for the rest of its life.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And so while you are feeding a baby or a small child a lot of foods that are enriched with carrots or pears or apples that are predominantly sweet, what you're doing is you're creating their palate to only really prefer and like those things. They don't necessarily like bitter, sour, spicy, tangy, salty. And so it's really interesting to me. And I always tell the parents when they say, "Would you like to try this?" I always compliment them and say, "Thank you for letting your child make their own decisions." And we'll start out with the not hot one, right?
Right.
And if they want to move up, we can move up until they've decided they've had enough.
Right.
But I think it's really interesting how much we do that in our lives with things and with people. You won't like that. It's not a taste you would like.
Yeah.
Whether it's jam or barbecue or whatever it is, right? Anything, right?
Yeah.
Just keep your eyes open, keep your mouth open, taste things. The other interesting thing is, you know how you can tell when you have a foodie sampling your product?
No.
When they put the taste into their mouth, they close their eyes.
Oh, nice. That makes sense. Yeah, you like really focus on
They focus on, it's like sensory deprivation. They're closing their eyes. They're thinking about what they're eating. They let it roll around in their mouth and they don't just swallow it. It's really, I know I have a true foodie in my realm when I see them do that. And I pause and I don't even talk to them because I know that that's an interruption to what their brain is doing and what they're thinking. And I think we're going to be friends.
Yeah.
We are going to be friends.
They
You're
are
part of
locked
my
in.
tribe.
Yeah,
They're
exactly.
locked in, right?
We're diving into the damn jam.
Right.
That's going to be a great clip. I can't wait to share that part with the world. That's such a great note, too. You're so right. Because, they are purposely kind of stepping out of existence for a minute to focus so much on that. You're so right. Yeah. I see it with, I did a coffee tasting a while back where all the silver spoons, you're trying that. I'm like, what a fascinating version of this experience that I would have never, ever even thought about.
Right.
It's great, though. Yeah, it's like, it's the equivalent of turning the radio down when you're looking for an address. Do you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, you can't have that going on in your brain while you're trying to do something else.
Yeah. It's so funny. What is something that you've learned along the way that you think would be so important to impart on another person where you were around COVID, for example? You know, like they have a dream, they have a product. Like what would be something that you wish someone had told you then?
Well, one, I think the thing is that sometimes we prevent ourselves from taking steps because one, we think what we have is not new, it's not inventive, it's not creative enough. Well, you know, jam is not new.
Right.
It's not particularly inventive.
Right.
I mean,
It's been around.
It's been around. It's been around a minute, right? But I think one of the I just told this to a colleague of mine yesterday who was like, I love what you've done, but I really don't know I don't know what my stick would be, and I don't know how I would go about doing it. And I said, well, here's some advice. Social media can be a great thing. Right. Go out and follow some people who are doing the thing in your area that you might like. He's a bourbon aficionado.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And see what they're doing. And then go and try to figure out, you know, how would you get into that space?
Right.
What would that journey look like? And maybe even reach out to them because once again, our community is very friendly.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't dislike other jam producers. They don't talk bad about me. We're all here to lift each other and help each other up.
Yeah.
I would follow some people that are in the vein or in the line of what you think you want to do and watch what they're doing, where they're taking their product, how they're presenting their product, what their packaging looks like, what kind of messaging they're putting out, and kind of use that as a roadmap to go, you know, I could see what I'm thinking about in this vein. It's different than this, or it's the same as this. And how would I reach that market differently? I mean, I think that that's a great kind of analytical runway for you to think about.
I love this.
How could I launch? And then don't underestimate the value of the people that we have in our community. I didn't know about Rachel DeRochers, and I didn't really know that much about the Finley Kitchen. So we're going to be at the Good and Local Food Show on Monday.
Oh, awesome. Okay, cool.
Chelsea is going to be there representing that damn jam.
Love it.
And so, you know, there's a lot of great organizations, like you said, that can help you take your idea, which I didn't even know that was a thing, and maybe it wasn't even around, you know.
Sure.
You know,
but I think a lot of people don't know still.
Right.
You know, I think some, obviously, you know what I mean? I think the, how should I say, adventurous, like the more entrepreneurial go-getters will find it. But I think there's a lot of people out there that have that dream, but maybe don't know a few of the steps. So like, all right, I have A, I kind of know what Z is. What do steps B through Y look like?
Right.
No, I love that. Thank you for sharing these things with that. And by the way, I think that advice is good for anybody trying to do anything. I had a similar conversation with somebody like trying to do like, you know, I hate to use the word influencer.
Right.
But kind of that thing. I was like, look, if this is a lane that you think you go in, go find someone you like. Same thing. Don't necessarily try to emulate them.
Right.
But I always view it's a little bit like a puzzle. And there are all these pieces on there. It's like, what does your puzzle piece look like? How does it fit into the existing system? If success in the, you know, whatever the public way that's what you want.
Right.
Follow whatever that trend is. I think it's an amazing way to go about it because people are out there doing it. It's like, how do I make, well, I mean, you know, I looked at, when I came here, I was like, what does social media look like for other grocery stores?
Right.
And then here it was like, how do I upend everything that's been accepted?
Right.
You know, while still not losing the audience. And it's a challenge all the time, but it is great. So great advice. Thank you, Barbie. I appreciate it.
Well, absolutely.
Yeah.
Could we talk about something that I feel is a challenge for most of us?
I would love to hear that.
Small producers.
Yeah.
There's a couple of things that come to mind. One is access to capital.
Sure.
And if anybody has an answer to that, I would love to have you reach out to me to talk about how we get better access to capital.
I've just been stringing along millionaires my whole life.
Right.
I'm the best.
All you millionaires. You know, I think that's a challenge. You know, it's hard to grow if you don't have the money personally to invest.
Of course.
And so you're kind of constrained by that. So that is a challenge that we face. And the other big challenge that the small brands like myself face is distribution.
Right.
A lot of us are self-distributing, and which also limits your ability to grow. So listeners may not know that wholesale distributors often have a benchmark that you have to bring a very large client to them in order for you to be added into their product list, which I did not understand that. I thought I was trying to look for alignment with where do these distributors go that already carry my product or products like mine, that we would be, you know, in synchronicity with one another, and that I could just be part of their route. right? They're already going to these, 50 locations around Cincinnati. So I could just be added onto their existing route and they could fulfill for us. But that's not how it works.
Right.
And so we really struggle in our space. We actually just hired somebody to do fulfillment for us. But it would be better if all of us small brands had a distributor that could distribute our products. It would be easier for our customers.
Right.
They would be able to get fulfillment for 10 or 15 or 20 different products through one place, write one check.
Right.
It'd be easier fulfillment.
And I would imagine it would open doors for everybody too, because it would
Right.
probably be easier to just get it into a multitude of locations.
Right. It would, because, and we all kind of cross over one another, and we share when we have success getting into one location, like the New York butcher shop just opened up in Montgomery.
Yes.
Great Andrew Bismeyer opened it up. He's a great young man.
Yeah.
And so Debbie Newman, who owns Spice Baby, said, "Hey, did you see this?" I'm like, "I didn't see it." She's like, "You should go in." And so we network like that, and we help lift each other up.
That's
but
awesome.
Andrew, and so then I started giving Andrew some other people, but Andrew's got to cut a check to however many local brands that
Of
he
course.
has in his shop, right?
Right.
But so I would ask that Rachel and that other people in our food community attack this problem, or we sit down and we talk about this is really not a problem, it's an opportunity.
Right, that's
how
how
do we get all of these small brands leveraged in a better way
Right.
across the food economy that we have here in Cincinnati, across the ecosystem.
We have people hungry, they're adventurous, they're interested in trying new stuff, they want to support local. I think this is like you said, it is an opportunity. In my head, as soon as you said that, I'm like, am I starting a distribution business after this? That was like my first thought. I'm like, oh, because it's a little bit of networking, it's a little bit of obviously getting the product in place. This could be amazing.
Yeah.
And then where does that go from there? Who knows? I have a lot of ideas. I actually won't share all of them publicly. I'll wait till we're done. I'm like, this
you can whisper them
off.
in my ear when we're done.
I will, gladly.
I won't tell anybody.
Oh, that's so cool. That's amazing. What a cool story. I can't believe we burnt through a half an hour like nothing.
Wow.
That was very impressive. Well, was there anything else that you want to make sure that you get out to the public, aside from, obviously, we need to try these? You do a lot of samples with us too, which I think
we
is,
do.
Yeah, so
We do a lot of sampling.
Yeah.
Well, a couple things. First, I'd like to thank you and Jungle Gyms.
Oh, of course.
And because one, you gave us a lot of legitimacy. A lot of people always ask me, "Are you in Jungle? You should get in Jungle Gyms. Are you in Jungle Gyms?"
Yeah.
And when I say we are, you can tell that it takes our brand up a notch.
For sure.
In the way that they think about us. So I'd like to thank you for that. And Hot Sauce Mike.
Oh,
out at the
yeah, we
Eastgate
love Mike.
Store,
He's the best, yeah.
I went in and met with him, sat down at the table. We did samples, and it was just once again, a surprising, welcoming experience. And, he does everything he can to support our brand and lets us sample as much as we possibly
It's so
can.
Cool. Yeah, Mike's great. And he really knows his stuff, and he's great at finding new products like yours and bringing these in. That's so cool. We love you, Mike.
We love you, Mike. But I'd also like to take a moment to thank some of my friends and my family.
Please, yeah, of
So
course.
my friend Casey Puco, she's out of New York, and she is the one who just relentlessly kicked me in the rear and said, "You have to do this. You have to do this. This is your calling. You have to do this. You have this other full-time career. That is what you do. It is not who you are. This is who you are. You're a food founder. You need to do this." So thank you, Casey, for just relentlessly, nonstop in my ear telling me I had to do it.
Of course.
And then my husband and my two sons. So I want to tell a little quick story before we
Please.
wrap up.
No,
So
no.
I was fortunate enough to win an award from the Claremont County Chamber of Commerce for Businesswoman of the Year in
that's awesome.
2024. It was really
Congratulations.
thank you. It was an amazing award, and I was given the opportunity to give a little 2-minute speech.
Yeah.
And I wanted to really thank my family. And so what I did was I talked about how important it is to show up for others, right? And to show up in people's lives. And you get to choose how you show up in the world. And I show up as the Chief Sunshine Officer, right? That's my choice. That's how I choose to show up in the world. My husband Mike and my son Elliot and my son Alex show up for me, but all in different ways. So my husband Mike has shown up for me he's been the muscle. He's been a huge cheerleader for me. Anytime I get pallets of jam in, he's right there unpacking them for me. He taught me how to Tetris pack my Ford Escape so I can fit a tent and jam and every single thing I need in it to go to these events. You won't believe what you can fit in the back of a Ford Escape. But my husband, Mike, can Tetris pack.
I love that so much.
Tetris pack. My oldest son, Alex, he's a lot like me. He's a marketing person. He's a sales guy. And as I've run into different roadblocks along this process, he's like, "Mom, keep going. If you run into a wall, go around it. Go to the right, go to the left. And when you can't go either way, Mom, go through it.
Yeah.
And he always encourages me to go through the wall. Go through the wall whenever I reach a roadblock. And my youngest son, Elliot, he's going to be 27. He literally shows up in the most beautiful ways. He is there whenever I need somebody at an event.
Yeah.
When it's freezing cold outside and I call him crying and I said, Elliot, my fingers are blue. I can't take down my tent. Can you come here? I got stung by wasps at an event.
Oh my gosh.
And my hands were swollen. And I'm like, Elliot, I think I got to go to the hospital. Can you come out? And any time that I've ever called on him, he has shown up. And he's been there when I've been at my lowest lows, when I've had a terrible sales day, when I've had the highest highs. My family's always shown up for me. How you choose to show up for people in the world matters, and you get to choose how you show up.
Right, yeah.
And they've shown up for me each in different ways, but all in ways that I've needed. And so I want to thank them for that. And I love them so much.
That's so beautiful. Of course. Yeah. What a great story too. I love that for you. Oh, because you're right. You get to choose. And it's nice to know that they are choosing in such a positive way, right? Because, it'd be easy to just be like, good luck, Mom. You know?
Yep.
I get that. I'm sometimes that kid. I'm like, call me if there's a serious thing. And in the meantime, I believe in you. I'm on set now,
Right.
I'll be there as soon as I can. No, that's so funny. That's awesome. And well, look, and you've got this great product now. Even the wasps love it so much.
I know, right? Yeah, that was a very interesting day.
I'm sure it was.
That was a very interesting day. But we laugh about it now.
Right.
Not so much that day, but we laugh about it because, life is full of the stories, right? And that's what creates the journey and the landmarks of our life. Is the stories, the things that happen along the way, the things that you laugh about over Thanksgiving and Christmas and Easter and birthdays, the things that you don't always tell the stories about the things that went right. No. You tell the disaster stories, the things that made you laugh and almost fall out of your chair, right?
Yeah, you're like, it might not have always been like this. You know what I mean? Yeah, those are the fun ones.
Those are the fun ones.
The memories are just as important as the experiences, usually in my experience.
Yeah.
So that's so cool. Oh my gosh, I love it. Well, now everybody has to come in. Do you have any upcoming samplings on the record?
I know Chelsea has one coming up, but I'm sorry, I don't know the date.
That's okay. But depending on when this airs, it could even happen afterwards. So
yeah.
I'll find out before it airs and I can add it to the show notes.
Okay.
And that way, if there's anything coming up, I'll make sure everybody comes in. I really love this product. Again, I buy it regularly. I'm always very excited when you're at an event that I'm doing. So that's cool too.
Thank you.
Thank you for supporting us as well. We're glad to have you in here. I know it sounds corny to say, but these are the things. These are pardon the expression, the spice here, though, a little bit, right?
Right.
Because you can carry a lot of the big things. But to me, I think it's so cool here that we have such a local presence. So many things that, you wouldn't find at a big box retailer, but we love it. I think I can speak on behalf of the company when I say, if there's more of you out there, we want to meet you and we want to discover your products too. So.
And it's relatively easy access to get in to talk to someone, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like you have to go through 25 layers of people, and that's the beautiful thing. And when Mr. Jungle comes out, to the Weekend of Fire and comes by and sees every single person who has a booth at the event and says hello.
I know he loves that.
And we get our photo taken with him, and just to know that he is the ambassador for that,
really cool.
it means so much to us.
Oh,
I wasn't expecting it when he came out the first time, and the young woman who's working with me, I'm like, oh my God, do you know who that is? I'm like, that's Mr. Bonamino.
Yeah,
that's Jungle Jim. Oh my God, get ready. Get your picture. We're going to get our picture. Here he comes. And
put the Vaseline on the lens.
Right? I mean, so it's wonderful that he chooses to show up that way.
Yeah.
That's his choice, right? He's choosing to show up in that space at that time because he remembers what it was like in 1972 when he had a vegetable stand on the side of the road.
Exactly.
And that's where he started.
Yeah, and he had to build his community. It's the same way we all did. Yeah, now he
driving down to Florida to get his fruits and vegetables, and look where he is now.
Right. Yeah, I love it. And I love it's like one of those really refreshing things to get to know him, right? Mm-hmm. To know that he is personally passionate about that kind of thing.
Right.
Crazy. And I can't think of too many people in his space that would feel as hands-on and excited about it. You know what I mean? I met just enough CEOs in my day to be like, I know you don't love this as much as you're supposed to. You know what I mean?
Right.
But he does, right? I mean, he's showing up like you said.
Absolutely.
He's choosing to put those costumes on.
He is.
He's the only other adult in my life with a costume closet.
Shows up up
that.
with a race car outfit
Yeah, exactly.
on. With
The
a,
best
yeah.
I can do right now is my cicada suit looming in the background, but that's going to get some action soon. So. Oh my gosh, Barbie, this has been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you
today.
so much
Oh,
for
my
having
absolute
me.
pleasure. Yeah. Well, we'll have to do this again sometime.
Yes.
I've been trying to get some more interactive shows coming up on the docket, so we should come up with something together.
I would
We'll
love
work on
that.
That'd be awesome. Well, in the meantime, everybody, come into Jungle Gyms, get some of this. What are you on social media as well, right? It's
Yes.
at That Damn Jam, I think, on Instagram,
Yeah,
right?
That Damn Jam on Instagram. I'm That Damn Jam on Facebook, and we're www.thatdamnjam.com on
Perfect.
the internet to
Yeah.
our website. And we also do ads on Q102, so you might hear us on Q102. We're on
love
Fox
that.
19 and Channel 12 and Channel 9 doing
love
cooking
it.
segments.
So
So
that's awesome. Cool. Well,
so-
hopefully we'll be on the news together sometime. That'd be fun.
I would love
all the
that.
stations that love me back.
I would love that. That'd
would
be great.
fun.
Thank
We'll
you
come up
so
with something fun.
much.
Yeah. Oh my God, Barbie, my absolute pleasure. Well, in the meantime, everybody, come in the stores, buy some of that. Follow her on social media. You can see that. Look at that jam right there.
Send it out to friends and family. Give them a taste of Cincinnati.
I love that. Yeah, we got to get you in some of those like local bundles. That would be fun too.
That'd be awesome.
That's the Weasley way in. I got an idea after this. Here, we'll wrap on this. Well, everyone, thank you so much as always for tuning into the show. If you're listening along, I love you. I appreciate you. But I know I've been begging you forever. I get it. You all like to just listen to me in the car. That's great. But I would love it if you come follow me on YouTube as well, because we released the video version of the show there as well. I want to boost those numbers there. I want it to look good. And in the meantime, you can follow Jungle Gyms on all social. You'll find some clips of this coming out soon. And on that, thank you all again, and I'll see you out there in the aisles.
The Jungle Gyms podcast is recorded in the WJJI studio inside Jungle Gyms International Market in Fairfield, Ohio. The Jungle Gyms podcast is produced and hosted by Mark Borison.